Hey everybody, Leticia here. I hope you're all doing well and that your week is going well so far. I feel like I haven't done a video update here in a while, so I wanted to just reach out, let you know how things are going. Things have been so awesome for me here in Playa. I'm really grateful to be here in beautiful Playa del Carmen, Mexico. You know, Playa is like a mini version of what Toronto used to be, but in my opinion, better. Well, better because of the weather and the palm trees and the beach. You know, I really can't complain about that. But what I mean by, what Toronto used to be, Playa is a very vibrant place and continues to be. Apparently, there was a bit of a slowdown last year with the pandemic, but that has greatly kind of been reduced because I feel like the kinds of people that have been attracted to Playa lately are people who are, quite frankly, escaping the tyranny in their own countries, and a lot of awake, health conscious, entrepreneurial people. So it's just been such an amazing place to be. There are multiple weekly events of all kinds that one has the opportunity to attend. I myself, in recent weeks, motorcycles are a common scene. I myself, in recent weeks, became the co-organizer and co-moderator of a very busy ladies group. And we host weekly brunches every Saturday morning. Last Saturday we had, maybe about 25 ladies show up at a local restaurant. I'm hoping this Saturday we're going to have an equally great turnout. We're going to be at a beach club, and it's just so awesome. And again, you've got people from literally all over the world, from Canada, the US, Brazil, various Western European countries, various Eastern European countries. It's just so awesome. Tuesday of last week, I attended a Crypto Playa meetup. There might have been about 50 people there packed into a room. So awesome. Their guest speaker was this German gentleman that has like an Instagram following of about 40 million people. That was pretty impressive. Maybe I'll link to his profile. Yeah, he teaches people how to basically be a world citizen and yet resident of no country. I'm still wrapping my mind around it, but basically he has found a way, he and many like him have found a way to basically never pay taxes again. Anyway, I mean, it's great for me to be in a place of so many freedom-minded people. And by the way, it is a Playa thing, Now that being said, I have not been much in Tulum. Just last weekend? Yeah, last weekend. I got 2 weekends ago. I have a couple of my Canadian freedom friends who are staying in Akumal, which is kind of like halfway between Playa and Tulum. And they love Tulum Beach, so they invited me to spend some time with them at one of the beach clubs in Tulum. And I did a little Instagram story from there. And what can I say? The beaches in Tulum continue to be absolutely beautiful. The only thing is, oh yeah, construction is another common sound over here. You'll have to forgive me for a sec. Yeah, the only issue is if you're gonna go to Tulum on a Saturday or a Sunday, as any of you who have been to Tulum know, the beach in Tulum is some distance away from Tulum City, and you're gonna have to take a cab, and then unbeknownst to me, I hadn't been to Tulum in about maybe, I guess, 2 years. And even when I did go 2 years ago, I never went to Tulum Beach. I only stayed in Tulum City, and then I went to Koba, which is this set of pyramids, ruins that are about 45 minutes inland from Tulum. But anyway, yeah, I did not enjoy sitting in traffic for what felt like at least half an hour, maybe longer, to get from, oh my gosh, so much construction. Yeah, to get from Tulum Central to Tulum Beach. There's basically a tiny road that will take you to Tulum Beach, and it was just bumper to bumper traffic. Not fun, So I'm thinking, like, if and when I go to Tulum Beach again, it probably will not be on a weekend. They have, you know, beach club next to beach club next to beach club. It's just gone. It's blown up like crazy. And I have to wonder about the environmental impact of all that. Like somebody told me there's a documentary. I haven't watched it yet, but a guy at the crypto meetup mentioned to me that there's a documentary called The Dark Side of Tulum that talks about how, you know, all these supposedly eco things are not so eco after all, and there's definitely an environmental impact to all this seemingly unstoppable development. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of development, but again, not so much in Tulum Beach, but in Tulum Central there are an increasing number of buildings that are condo buildings that are, you know, sprawling and so on. More so in Playa, though. Playa continues to be, just to me, the most happening spot. And if I had to choose between the two, you know, well, I am choosing to stay in Playa for the reason that I can literally just walk to the beach whenever I want to. Not that I've gotten to do that very much lately, because I've been keeping busy. As some of you know, because there are so many people coming here, and because I speak Spanish fluently as well, I have been helping people with rentals. You know, a lot of people are coming, and it's not the old visitors that would come and stay and book an Airbnb for 2 weeks. I mean, that's still happening, but to a lesser extent. What we're seeing more and more are, hey, yes, Antonio, sí, todo bien. Yes, thank you. Yeah, what we're seeing more and more are, you know, digital nomads that are coming here either by themselves or as a couple, or, you know, we're seeing entire families moving down here and staying for extended periods of time. So people are looking for more affordable long-term rentals. And not to mention that, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've met people that will say, oh, I just need something for 1 month. I just need something for 1 month. And 3, 4 months, 5 months later, they're still here and they're not going anywhere. They're not going back to their home countries. They are pursuing Mexican residency, something that I myself, I'm currently figuring it out. There have been some changes in rules that I've just become aware of, and even some of the local immigration specialists don't know about it. Virginia, ya llevo 6 meses aquí. I've been here for the past 6 months, and with the intention to stay here long term. Así es, yes. I don't see really any good reason to come back to Canada, especially under current circumstances with all the BS that's currently happening in Canada. I'm enjoying my life here mucho mejor, much better. So, of course, my parents are still in Canada, and I really wish they could come here, but my father still works full-time, and that's his right to do so. And not only that, but, you know, my parents already made the move once from formerly communist Romania to... it's freaking amazing, girl. It's freaking amazing. Everything is open. Some places will ask you to put on a mask, you know, when you walk in, mostly the grocery stores. But you can do your shopping at local fruterias, like little fruit markets where you don't have to wear a mask. Nobody will tell you anything. Restaurants are open, bars are open. Not that I frequent bars, I'm not into that. But yeah, life is happening. Life is happening here, and it's amazing. And there are so many entrepreneurial, freedom-minded expats. I mean, there's a young man from, I don't know where he's from, but he decided to start like a lunch and learn series. So now, multiple times a week, if you want to learn about anything, like he had a guy talking about how to start an app. Like, if you have an idea for an app, he's an app developer, and he was talking to, to people about how you could start one. Of course, there are a number of people that are interested in buying property down here. I myself have started helping people with that, and there are lots of questions about that. So I'm probably going to have one of my local notary contacts come and do a presentation about buying land in Mexico, the different things you need to be aware of, because when it comes to land titles here in Mexico, it's not as cut and clear as it would be in Canada, for example. So there are certain things you need to be aware of, and I've been learning about that myself, but someone like an experienced notary would know about that. And yeah, that's the interesting thing that I also learned. In Canada, for a real estate transaction, you always have like the buyer side lawyer and the seller's lawyer. Here in Mexico, for real estate transactions, 90% of the cases you're going to have only one legal professional handling the entire transaction. Oh yeah, you do amazing, Virginia. See. Virginia Carolina says she wants to open a hair salon in Playa. Yeah, you totally could, there's definitely just an increasing flow of people coming here, and there's definitely demand for all kinds of services. Good hairstylist, you name it. I mean, I've been going to a Canadian lady over here who is awesome, and she knows what she's doing with blonde hair. Unfortunately, not everybody knows, and I've learned that even in Canada. Well, yeah. Anyway, it's all good. Yeah, weather has been awesome. We did have a shit ton of rain on Saturday, but I could tell that was geoengineered weather. Unfortunately, it does happen here too, not to the extent that it happens in Canada, but I've seen enough to know and recognize weather manipulation patterns. What else to tell you, chicos and chicas? I had the great pleasure of attending another ayahuasca ceremony a couple of Fridays ago. I posted a picture earlier today. Having the time of my freaking life. I'm so grateful. Yeah, ayahuasca is really special. It's really such a gift. And yeah, thank you, Laura. Yeah, it was different than my previous two ceremonies that I shared about, because I didn't have as many visions, although I did have some visions. Interestingly enough, one of my great-grandmothers, my maternal great-grandmother, one of them came to mind. I saw her face very clear in my mind, and her husband, my great-grandfather, and I felt like they were literally coming to be acknowledged. And it felt so healing, and everybody that was there that day, they got so much healing. I don't know, like whatever problems you may have in your life, whatever problems you may have in this world, when you see them from that higher perspective that ayahuasca gives you access to, you'll be like, I ain't got no problems in this life. We ain't got no problems, chicos. We ain't got no problems. No problems. Like nothing. Like you just, when you see from the higher perspective, all our little worldly problems, as severe as they may seem to us in the moment, they're nothing. They're like dust in the wind, honestly. So I don't know, I'm really super grateful to have received that gift of that higher vision, and it's something that I would recommend every one of you gives themselves the gift of at least once in a lifetime. Of course, in my understanding, the more ceremonies you do, it's like peeling layers of an onion. So you just get deeper and deeper levels of healing and understanding. And it's so interesting because the plant gives you, they call it Mother Ayahuasca or Grandmother Ayahuasca, Madrecita Ayahuasca. Like really, and I can't even imagine not doing ayahuasca in a ceremonial and sacred fashion. Rose, you're so sweet. Thank you, my love. It really is such a sacred and profound experience, and I feel like you need to be doing it in the right company, with right people, in a sacred fashion. This is not something you want to take on your own and think you can just fuck around with it. I'm sorry, but and I think the same can be said about other sacred plants that people, unfortunately, I myself in my younger years, not knowing any better, I've experimented with other psychedelics and done them what in Mexican Spanish they would call a lo pendejo, meaning stupidly. And it's a very different experience, and you're cheating yourself of something that can be very profound and healing. And in a way, you're really disrespecting that teacher plant. And I would not recommend to anybody that they mess around with any kind of, especially, I mean, we all know there are, I don't even know if we can call them psychedelics, but there are processed forms of DMT. I think they're called like speed and MDMA. To each their own. I really can't tell people what to do or what to put into their bodies and what to do. But I mean, my recommendation would be do it properly. How I first found out about, let's say, peyote, which by the way, I've only done once in Peru. And again, I did it stupidly, not in the right company. And something very bad could have happened. Like I was on a mountaintop. It was getting dark, it started to rain, and I'm tripping, and like literally, who knows, I'm grateful my angels were there with me that day to get me out of that situation safely. I would not recommend doing that to yourself, okay? go with a shaman, go with somebody who's experienced guiding ceremonies and doing them in a ceremonial and sacred fashion. So, but yeah, how interesting, how freaking interesting life is. You know, I remember in my late teens, early 20s being, you know, literally falling in love with Carlos Castaneda's series of books. And for those of you who don't know, Carlos Castaneda was, he was a young man he was a Mexican American, and decided to do a thesis on the use of psychotropic plants. And very synchronistically, while riding a bus one day, he got connected with what turned out to be a curandero. And I guess the term in English would be a sorcerer, or maybe a shaman from a northern Indian Native American tribe. And you know, Carlos, and then Carlos was such an eager beaver, and he's like, oh my God, teach me everything you know, I'm so eager to learn. And you know how they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And this curandero took him under his wing, agreed to teach him about the plants because he felt like they had been divinely connected somehow by the universe. And took him on as his apprentice on condition that he was going to share the knowledge and his insights, what he was learning, with the world. And that's what Carlos did. He wrote a series of books, the first one of which was the teachings of Don Juan, a Yaqui way of knowledge. And then there were a series of at least 5 other books that were written that he wrote, all freaking amazing, that talk about and primarily in the ceremonies, and you know, part of the practices that this curandero and his fellow curanderos taught were using peyote in a ceremonial fashion, and in order to get access to wisdom and teachings. And yeah, peyote is, you know, this cactus leaf. Again, it has these I don't want to call them hallucinogenic properties, because I don't feel that. To me, my experience of, let's say, ayahuasca does not feel like what I saw was a hallucination. Like it literally, in my experience, gives you access to insights, to visions. You start connecting with other souls. It just gives you access to like a higher level of understanding of our world. And to call them hallucinogenic, I think, cheapens the experience, and it's not been my experience of what I experienced. And to anybody out there that, and in fact, I kind of made the mistake, you know, prior to my, there's kind of an intake form that the teacher asks people to, not sananga. So both of those, somebody's asking me if I've tried sananga or rapé yet. So as part of my ceremonies here, those 2 plants are also offered. Rapé, for people who probably have no idea, is finely ground tobacco mixed with other herbs, and it's also often offered as part of the ayahuasca experience in order to awaken the senses. And so I have tried that. The sananga, I didn't have the courage to try yet. Sananga is, so yeah, what rapé does, in my experience, it just awakens the senses. It makes you more receptive to the Aya experience. Not every teacher offers it. So my teacher in Canada only offers the ayahuasca, and then she only uses the rapé and the tobacco in a ceremonial fashion, but without offering it in any form. And by the way, it's offered. It's not the rapé. In this case, it's blown through a special kind of pipe up your nose. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but anyway, I did give that a try, and I can see why it's being offered as a it has the ability to put you really into your body, because some people, they have and I feel I've gotten better in that regard, but like, I know there are still some people out there that have, you know, running commentary constantly running through their heads, and they have a hard time getting present. So something like rapé will literally help you get very present. Sananga is something that the natives of the Amazon still use to this day. Apparently, when they go on their hunting trips, it enhances your vision, like your actual physical vision. There's drops that you put into your eyes. but apparently they really burn for like a couple minutes, so I haven't had the courage to yeah, absolutely, Rose. I do have my lovely teacher in Canada. I will DM you her information. That's who my brother has done many ceremonies with. That's who I've done my first ever ayahuasca ceremonies with, and also highly recommend her. She's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. What am I? Oh, Sandy says 15 minutes. Is that how long the sananga burns for? Well, yet another reason why I'm not such an eager beaver to try it. We'll see about my next ceremony, but yeah, so far I haven't had the courage to. I have a pretty low tolerance for physical pain, so I know myself. So yeah, well, I'll think about that. I would be open to doing a peyote ceremony. Again, the only time I've ever tried peyote was not the right way, so I feel like I was almost left. I don't want to say traumatized by the experience, because it's no fault of the plant. It was my own stupidity, and I'm sure if I had done it in the right fashion, my experience would have been completely different. I don't think Arturo, my teacher here, my ayahuasca teacher, I haven't heard him mention any peyote ceremonies, but I have heard of them around. And again, I'm so blessed to be here in the Riviera Maya, where this is such a common practice. So yeah, I was just saying, how interesting that, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I read this Carlos Castaneda books, and I was so fascinated and in love with those books, because some of my favorite line from the books is when Don Juan was the name of the curandero, and he tells Carlos one day, there are worlds within worlds right here before our eyes, Carlitos. Holy, how true that is. How true that is. We really are multidimensional beings, and what a blessing to be able to have a glimpse into our own higher nature, so awesome. And yeah, some of the experiences he describes, and some of the insights that he had as part of his apprenticeship, I mean, dude, he at some point describes how a curandero was able to be physically in two places at once. See, yep. I mean, that was one experience that I was like, what? Yep. He also describes, I think this was in his book 5, where he describes living with a number of curanderas. It was like female sorceresses who literally, he describes an experience where one of them, at some point, he was walking towards the house where they were all living, and one of them walks by, and she had the appearance of like a very old, frail lady. And then he all of a sudden gets this feeling like something's not right here, and he just immediately realized that she had actually shape-shifted. I know, guys, I know, it all sounds so crazy, but we're not. The fact that, we think we're just physical matter. No, I'm beginning to understand we are so much more than that. And yeah, so basically he describes how this young sorceress essentially took the appearance of like an old frail lady. Now, the sorceresses were really messing with him. Again, I would invite you to read the Carlos Castaneda series of books if you're drawn to this kind of information and just want to get a glimpse of these, other realities. It's so amazing. So yeah, and how amazing that, so many years later, I find myself in Mexico, the land where these practices, I don't want to say necessarily originated from, but they are definitely so common with the Native Americans, like the tribes, and even some of the local ceremonies that are being organized. So for example, I did find out about a peyote ceremony that was organized in Tulum this past weekend. I felt like it was not the right time for me. It was on a Sunday night. Mondays usually, back to work, back to school for Anthony. It wasn't a good idea for me. But yeah, the one of the attendees was telling me that they were having a shaman from a native tribe some 4 or 5 hours away come and do the ceremony. So they are quite the tradition here in this part of the world, and I'm just feeling so blessed. I mean, it just kind of reinforces that I made the right decision. I don't feel like I need to convince myself any further or anything, or you for that matter. I'm like, yeah, it's like a great place for me to be. I'm just so grateful. And by the way, I just got to the beach. I want to show you guys This is Playa Colosio. It's about a 12-minute walk from where I live. I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna maybe switch the screen. It's gone. Very quiet during the week. This is more of a locals beach. It's on the edge of the touristic area. If you were in the heart of Playa, people go to thank you, Rose. Yeah, people go to Mamita's beach. That's probably the most popular beach in Playa, but I don't like going there. It's way too packed for me, and too many rowdy, drunk young people. It's not my thing, you know. But this, yeah, me gusta. I love it here, guys. And in case any of you are contemplating coming here, yes, you still can come to Mexico, mis amores. You can still fly through the U.S. Now, one of the lady friend of one of my friends in Canada just got here, and apparently she had to subject herself to the antigen test in order to be able to even have a 1.5 hour stopover in the U.S., which I find so ridiculous. But come on, amores, you're all very resourceful people. I'm sure you can get your hands on some tests. You know what you need to do. I'm sure you can figure it out. So yeah, more I could say, but I don't want to make this video 2 hours long. So I will be in touch. I wish you all a great rest of the week, and look forward to seeing you and speaking with you soon. Okay, blessings, hugs. Mwah.